Now, joining us on the program right now from the great state of Iowa that became shall issue concealed carry last session. Very pleased to have with us Iowa State Representative Matt Winchittle, the Assistant Majority Leader. And Representative, thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program tonight.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
As I understand it, the Castle Doctrine bill is advancing in the state of Iowa.
That is correct, and it's an extension of Castle Doctrine, and it goes beyond just your home, your place of business or employment, and it actually extends to any place where you have a lawful right to be present. So it is more than just a standard Castle Doctrine.
Okay, and this was this passed out of committee. Was this the Justice Committee?
It was actually the House Public Safety Committee.
Okay, 13-9 was the vote. What do you? Obviously, there were some opponents of the measure. What was their big argument against your legislation?
Well, the biggest argument that I've heard by far is because we moved to a shall-issue system last year with tremendous amounts of help from the NRA, mind you, they are throwing out this hypothetical argument that we're going to turn Iowa into some type of Wild West state where anybody and everybody who has a permit to carry concealed is going to go out and try to become some type of renegade. I mean, it's ludicrous, I know, but that's the liberal mindset that you have to deal with when you get into these types of discussions. So that's pretty much the biggest argument, is that we're going to escalate crime instead of de-escalate. And the main fault in that entire argument is you're going to tell Iowans, law-abiding Iowans, that if they're faced with a confrontation, if their life or liberty is threatened, that, well, you have to run away first. That is what you should do. You should dial 911 and wait the 3 to 5 minutes that it's going to take for a law enforcement officer to get there to try and protect you. When most of these situations escalate and de-escalate within 30 minutes or 30 seconds to a minute. I mean, it's a flawed perception of flawed reality.
Yeah, and it seems to me, just in reading the news story from the Quad City Times, that in order for the opponents of this legislation to try to make that argument, they really have to mischaracterize what this legislation is all about. You had a representative who says, so I can blow away someone who's in my garage going through a toolbox. You had another representative say, well, what if somebody was just walking up to your car? You could shoot him and nothing would happen. Those are not only are those hypotheticals, those are bad examples. And as you point out, nothing in this legislation would actually allow for that to happen legally.
That is correct. And what you have to look at this from is the liberal perspective is to rationalize with emotion and to try and take the worst case scenario and make it seem like an everyday situation. But when you look at the conservative perspective that I find very overwhelming in Iowa, especially in my district in western Iowa, it is a logical approach to these situations. You use logic to work yourself through the situation. The scenarios and the hypotheticals that get thrown out, like I said, they are the far extreme. What if the sky turns purple? What if the wind shifts this way? What if it starts raining cats and dogs? I mean, it's the absolute worst case scenario of everything. And you're exactly correct. The statute that we're proposing in House File 7, it does not give someone just blatant ability to go out, pull their firearm out, or pull their baseball bat out, or any other type of weapon, and just go haywire, go to town trying to defend themselves.
Yeah.
There are specific situations listed within the statute that, all we're doing is we're re-recognizing people's rights to defend themselves that has been denied for years here in Iowa.
Okay, so the bill out of committee now goes to the full House. What do you think the prospects are, and what should gun owners be doing right now in Iowa?
Well, gun owners are doing the right thing. I've already gotten, I would say, at least 1,500, if not 2,000 emails in respects to gun rights, including this legislation, from constituents all across the state. So they're doing their due diligence, and they're contacting their legislative members. As far as prospects go, I believe House File 7 has a great potential to pass the House here in Iowa. It is a top priority for House Republicans. It is top priority for Iowans. And it's top priority for Second Amendment proponents here in the state. As far as when it gets to the Senate, I've heard the rumors that Senate Democrats who still control the Senate are saying, oh no, this is far-reaching. This not something that Iowans need. We need to rely on government once again to protect us and take care of us. Well, I'm hoping that maybe Iowans' voices will be heard on this issue when this bill gets to the Senate and is sitting on their doorstep, and that those senators will actually do what's right by Iowans and recognize their right to defend their life and liberty or the life and liberty of their friends or neighbors.
Well, dozens of states have already recognized this, Representative, and if it helps to point out that what you're trying to do here is not extreme, not out of the ordinary, and in fact would bring Iowa into line with a majority of other states, then maybe we can undercut this argument that you're trying to turn Iowa into the wild, wild west.
And you're exactly correct. I have heard in the 5 years I've been in the legislature on numerous different topics, people expound upon, well, Illinois did this, or California did that, or Wisconsin did this. And, we're going to follow the path of those legislators that have broken the trail, and they're taking us in a new direction, and we want to be with them on that. Well, that's kind of the same argument that I'm bringing to the table is other states have done this. Other states have been successful in doing this. This is put rights back in the hands of their citizens. Why are Iowans any different? Why should we look at Iowans any less? Iowans are as much, if not more, responsible than every other American citizen out there. So, I also want to touch, it's not just this issue that we're talking about. It's not just the Castle Doctrine and the Stand Your Ground. We're pushing on every front that we possibly can to recognize people's constitutional rights, whether it be we've got language that would put a constitutional amendment into the Iowa Constitution recognizing Second Amendment rights, or we're facing another issue right now where local cities and or counties are trying to preempt gun laws that are in the state because of the concealed carry bill that we passed last year. That flies in the face of the Constitution. You're saying that the Second Amendment is now null and void because some city council said, hey, I don't want you carrying on public grounds?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but Iowa citizens pay the tax dollars for those grounds. They have a constitutional right to carry and defend themselves on those grounds right up until the point that they break the law. At that point, they relinquish their rights. And that is what we're trying to help people understand. It's an education process, just trying to get people to recognize that our founding fathers saw the need for this constitutional right.
Well, Representative, can't thank you enough for all that you're doing, sir. Glad you could be with us on the program tonight, and look forward to talking to you again as your legislation advances.
Well, hey, I appreciate it. I'm always open for a discussion, and if anything else comes up, I will be happy to come back on the program.
Thank you so much, sir. State Representative Matt Winschitl, the Assistant Majority Leader in the great state of Iowa.